and McCann.
Let me go ahead, and if you're recording, let me go ahead and say this for the audience. As an investigative journalist, this is the Jesus moment I had with Max and her story. She says things that are surreal, that are deeply upsetting. That either one of two things: either she's crazy and she's making it up, or she's legit. And what's really going on behind the scenes is that deeply disturbing of cutting open a living baby in the Vatican catacombs and drinking the baby's blood. So if I hadn't, the only reason why I'm on board, the only reason why I'm here is I already wrote a book on this. Okay. I've already done a deep dive. And to this day, to this moment, there's parts of me that okay, come on. Do you really believe this? Yes, I do. And the problem is you get distant from it. Another example is the fight over abortion. I get distant from it and I get detached from it, and then something brings me back to it in the process of what is abortion. And it brings it all back home crashing down on me. And I say, okay, wow, are you kidding me? I cannot believe this is 2025 and still going on. And that's why I'm here. And that's why I'm here is because I honestly, sincerely, I've binged on Max's work until I couldn't do it anymore. And I have this metaphor for my intuition. I call it Anatoly's nose from the Riddick movies. Anatoly is telling me she's legit. She's legit, and the problem is she's saying some really scary things. So go, Sean and Max.
The truth is very scary. And I mean, I know it's like a black pill to like understand. I mean, poor Max lived it. Like
your volume went down, pal. Your volume.
Yeah,
okay.
Volume did go down.
Here, 1 second. Let me, okay.
So as you look at that, let me address the white pill, black pill thing. I want to stay focused. Me personally, and what I do, I stay focused on red pill, blue pill, because so for anybody in the audience, what are you talking about? Okay, so it goes back to 1999, The Matrix. Red pill, blue pill. Are you awake? Are you asking questions? Are you questioning authority? Now today we have guys like Michael Malice, white pill, black pill, saying, are you a pessimist or are you an optimist? Put it aside. Put it aside. Let's stay focused on truth, and we'll worry about things falling in. Check your audio, bro.
I see that black pill thing as a way to shut down the truth, because it's the same what the New Age program does. It's like, oh, don't look at evil. Focus on the butterflies and the unicorns. Well, that's very convenient for evil if you don't focus on it and you pretend it doesn't exist, because now you're not going to take action. And that's our moral duty, is to take action, to take a side, to
Amen.
take the side of God, the side of good.
Amen.
In this spiritual war. So that annoys me when people say the black pill stuff. It's like, well, yeah. I know it's really, really just beyond what a human being can even hold in their consciousness. But that's because these people aren't human. And this is why they can do what they do. But it's happening, and it's happening to children now. And I can't look away from that.
God bless you. Like that's what we need to do. Like this is what this occasion is here. We aren't looking away. We are being brave, and we are attacking from where we stand. And Max, you have a very unique perspective to be standing in. And I'm so glad and your courage to bring it to the ears. I mean, like, just to speak your story is one thing, and then to have that be like what you do in the world now. You help heal the trauma, You help others like you. You help bring awareness to what trauma can do to the brain. You teach us about our own brains. Like, this is so important. And you teach us how the evil has hijacked our brains to use it against us. Like, and this, like, so the visceral disgustingness of the true story that you have to share, it's like, it's scary, and people don't want to believe it. We need courage to actually swallow. Like, the black pill is understanding. It's not like, oh, the world is crap and I might as well just give up. That's totally different. That's like the suicide pill or some crap. Like, this,
Yeah.
the black pill is to know the truth, the true darkness of how dark it truly is.
Yeah.
And I
And
mean,
Sean, let me just say that the thing is that we have been deceived and mind controlled. We are way more powerful than evil. That's the little secret they don't want us to know. So we can turn this around. Okay. Think of the extent of the mind control through the media, through education, through every avenue possible. Think of how they have poisoned us from food, air, water, vaccines, pharmaceuticals, the electromagnetic frequency, like the amount of resources and time and effort devoted to devolve our consciousness tells me we're very powerful beings and they're actually scared of us. So it's not hopeless, but you got to know what you're dealing with and stand up and take some action. And, you know, they have rendered the population very compliant, very passive, you know, very obedient to authority. So the way out is us. Okay. They use our life force energy to help. They use us like as a conduit, like in the movie The Matrix. We are the batteries. This is how they've created the hell on earth through us. But so that's the good news, because we can say no and we can create a heaven on earth instead. But we got to know what we're dealing with. You know, you have to know your enemy.
I absolutely love what Max said about this, that the entire black pill, white pill debate is designed to shut you up, is designed to overwhelm you with pessimism. And honestly, until this very moment, I wasn't overly suspect of white pill, black pill people until Max said what she said. And now I'm looking a little closer at guys like Michael Malice and James Corbett who get really into this. Okay, you go over the red pill, blue pill issue and get to white pill, black pill. And to me, that serves, I absolutely agree with what Max said. It absolutely serves the machine. And it reminds me of a very Luciferian movie, an awful movie. I hate to even mention it, but I'm going to say this because in 2015, Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell by a Luciferian Jewish guy named S. Craig Zoller, and just really, really creepy, evil movie about cannibalistic Indians, and yet there's a really awesome, inspiring moment where all the protagonists realize that what they are facing is some kind of weird cannibalistic Nephilim, unheard of before enemy in the cave. But this guy's wife is a captive, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No matter how bad the enemy is, it doesn't matter. We're going to get her. We're going to get her, and that is where we're at. It seems like our enemy is unstoppable, and I don't care. We're going after him. What else Max said is, listen to me, cancel culture is proof that the unstoppable machine is absolutely terrified. Yeah. The unstoppable machine is they are shutting down. I was pushed off of YouTube years ago. Me I don't use YouTube for anything. They gave me a strike over a silly 2-minute video game clip that I uploaded years ago. They are cracking down because they are absolutely terrified. And I'm just backing up everything that Max said.
That's
If you
true.
weren't saying something threatening that machine, why shut you down? They threw me off YouTube too for saying that COVID was a mass global satanic ritual.
It was, though.
Well, of course it was, but that wasn't okay.
I give
for me to
Amazing
say.
Polly credit for that. She was on it for that. Yes, it is
Yeah.
a mass ritual, and what a divider. Everyone that put the mask on was showing obedience to this slave master, and anyone that refused to wear the mask was sticking out as a rebel. And it really was a mark of for or against.
It was like separating the wheat from the chaff,
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the owners of us, in quotes, could see the faces of the ones who are against them. You know what I mean? Like all of their surveillance equipment gets their whole face. While the other ones, who cares about
Sean,
them?
let me
They're
tell you
already
something.
compliant.
Sean, I believe they were testing technology that was advanced technology that allows them to identify you with just this. I really believe, I have no evidence of this,
They do.
but I truly believe that they were upgrading their technology to be able to identify you with just this part of your face.
Right.
That's just my intuition.
And
It's
true.
also
They
it's
were
also
testing that too.
symbolic.
Yeah.
It's symbolic of silencing your voice.
Absolutely.
And it is depriving the brain of oxygen, which you need to think clearly. So they've assaulted the brain. The constant pumping of fear, our brains are geared towards survival. So if there's an actual threat, the brainstem is activated, which just reacts, but the cortex and the prefrontal cortex, which think and reason, shut down because in an actual survival situation, it takes too long to think. It's too costly. You would be dead, right? So you just fight or flight. You just react. But what happens when this is activated constantly? The thinking brain is always offline in the population. It actually shrinks the hippocampus, which holds autobiographical and historical memory. It makes people very compliant, very herd like, very, and that explains why no one seems to be learning from history. It's like, this has been done to us before, folks. Like, hello,
Spanish flu.
Yeah.
Spanish flu. You got it. Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely slave training. And then I think back on the studies that have been done, God forbid, of the parents that deprive their developing infants and babies of that contact by wearing a mask instead. And they're terrorizing their babies. And that's because they refuse to question authority. Then I think of all of the family members and elderly who were isolated in those hospices. And oh, by the way, you know the background on hospice, right? Hospices were created by the Roman Catholic nun daughter of brilliant poet Nathaniel Hawthorne. Give the people some place where they can go and die. This is the machine. Oh yes, give us your elderly, give us your family, give us your handicapped children. We'll take care of them for you.
Right.
We'll experiment on them for you. We'll kill them all for you. Go ahead, Sean.
Wasn't Cuomo the mayor of New York? Wasn't he Roman Catholic?
They mass murdered so many in New York. Under his reign, they actually had to fudge the numbers.
Right.
They
And now
mass
he's running
murdered.
for mayor. He's trying to get elected as mayor again. He's like,
They gave him a $5 million book deal as a congratulations. You did such a great job on the pandemic. We're going to, and a judge said, you know what? This is nothing illegal here. You get the $5 million for your book deal and what a great job you did. Are you kidding me? Cuomo, Roman Catholic Cuomo, son of Roman Catholic Cuomo. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So in their depopulation thing that they love, of course, the elderly are considered the most useless. But there's also something else to consider. See, as they've shortened our lifespan genetically and with toxins in the last decades anyway, but that's because after the age of 50, you begin to rise in your spiritual self. You find wisdom. You connect the dots. think of tribal elders, right?
Long after you've wasted your youth, Max. Long after you've wasted your youth, right about the 50 years, it all starts to come together.
But if people
Youth
can
is based on
listen
the
to
young.
you, the
Yeah, they
young
don't
can
want
listen to you, then that knowledge is given to them, and then that's the magic
Right.
secret. Like if you got your grandpa telling you, "Hey, don't trust the government," I mean, you might survive the next
Grandpa, you're
one.
crazy.
But I'm saying,
Let me
like,
get back on my phone.
she's got a perfect point there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Get rid of the wise ones.
that's right. Yeah, and the wise one, they put him in the hole, and like you can't even hug them, right?
Well, and that's
Like,
the assault on the brain too, with
yes.
all the metals in the vaccines and in the pharmas and sprayed on us. It causes Alzheimer's. So let's also take that wisdom and just whack the brain out so that it's not accessible. It's really disgusting.
Right, and the Alzheimer's is triggered by aluminum. And what are they spraying on us from the sky? What are they putting in our ground? And then
barium and aluminum,
right,
which when you look at the periodic table, it's Ba and Al, so Ball.
Wow.
So that's a perfect segue here. Okay, so like,
can we first get, without anything that upsets you, Max? Can we first get a basic summary of who you are and what your experiences are for any visiting audience members?
Yeah, we're going to share this with his audience too, and they might not know of you. You've been a past guest on my show, but please, that would be wonderful if you could share.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I've unfortunately am one of those people, and there are, many of us who have been subjected to satanic ritual abuse. So, in my case, it was within the Vatican, and it's not the catacombs, Johnny. It's actually way, way under the ground in subterranean levels, and the Vatican is Luciferian. They worship Lucifer. And down there's actually a throne to Lucifer, and there's a big altar where they sacrifice children. So they brutalize the child in the most, I don't even want to describe the ways because it's just unnecessary to traumatize people. But let's just say they do that so that the adrenaline is circulating in the blood. And then they cut the baby or the toddler or the small child open with a special knife on an altar. They collect the blood in these chalices and they drink it. They share it. They sometimes will pluck out the heart and eat it. I have seen them in other situations bring out platters that are a cooked baby. So they're cannibals, they're blood drinkers. I have been trafficked out of the Vatican. And then the Vatican was connected to an underground facility, of which these are everywhere in the world under the ground. They're like sort of medical, military type facilities where they take children, where they do experiments of all kinds with people, with animals. And so that facility was connected to that subterranean part of the Vatican. And I was also tortured a lot in that facility. And when I say torture, it's things like electric shock, rape, beatings, being put in freezers, being buried alive, sometimes with dead bodies, having to watch animals and people be tortured and killed, being put in impossible situations like where I'm in front of there's two, I'm in the facility in a room, there's a glass I can see. This was one of many they did. There was a woman they brought in and they strapped her to a chair and they tied a small bomb in her mouth around her head. And then in the other room was my younger sister, same situation, and I'm supposed to press a button to blow up one or the other bomb. And I say, no, I'm not going to do that. And it's like, well, if you don't choose one, we'll blow them up both. So then it's this psychological experiment and it's horrific. It's more horrific to harm someone and kill them than to be harmed yourself, at least for me. So, I had to pick the woman because I couldn't do it to my own sister. And she blew up, her head blew up, and it was everywhere. It was splattered everywhere. And then I was made to go in the room and put my arm around her headless torso so that they could snap pictures. And then I was given those pictures and told, well, you're a killer, just like us, you know. That's just one of many, many examples. So having to be in these psychological experiments and then the technological stuff with the helmet and the wires and the MK Ultra and the visual stuff. And, you know, that's sort of, and then isolation, you know, being kept in a cage with no food and no water, which for me, the comfort I got was from the rats that came by. So yeah, it's a lot. And then the elite parties, I should probably mention those. Some were indoors in mansions, and they brought me and other children, and we would be dressed up so that the pedophile elite in attendance could choose, you know, they like their gender and their age and their race. And then, you know, they do whatever they want with you. Some children are expendable. So at the end of these rituals, there's always a child sacrifice. And then I've been to the outdoor elite parties on grounds where they're hunting parties. So you have to run into the woods and hide and be terrified as they find you and hunt you. I have seen at one of the outdoor parties, they took a couple of babies and they impaled them alive on this long sword and then was swinging the sword around. And these people are drinking, they're using drugs, they're laughing, they think this is great. So that sort of, without going into too much detail, paints a little bit of a picture of the of what I've experienced and seen.
So, did you notice anything about these satanic implements? I've heard that these knives, these sacrifice knives, have something written on them.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
part of it. That's part of the ritual.
Yeah, they're very special. They have things written on them. They, you know, it's kind of like they sometimes show in the Hollywood version. They do wear robes in many of these. They do have candles. It's a lot of it is it's a sacrifice to Lucifer, and it's a way to open portals and invoke negative etheric entities, or what you might call demons, into this plane and often into their own bodies. They willingly give over their human soul to be inhabited by one of these. So I know it sounds like a science fiction movie, but I have literally been in the presence of evil, and it is a certain level of cold that has no description. I can't describe it. And it almost kills you. The energy of evil. I mean, it is a real thing. I hate to say it, but it is a real thing. You can't deny it.
One of the things that I love, and I don't mean to hijack this, Sean. One of the things that have spoken to me about Max and what she said is something I've always said, and she has lived and experienced, is that human beings, there's the David Icke silliness of reptilians, and then there's the David Icke half-truth. And I have always promoted the idea that human beings, they have a choice. Even victims have a choice. Human beings have a choice. And the choice is, do I destroy my divine spark of compassion and empathy in order for me to get ahead? Do I kill off my humanity in order to go ahead? And that is the process. Are you willing to torture a puppy, torture a kitten, torture a baby in order to get ahead? And they willfully make that decision, and they become inhuman when they make that decision. They willfully walk away from their humanity. They truly are inhuman, but they were born human. They make a decision. They make a conscious decision to walk that path. Not that there's any kind of weird aliens or any stupid. No, they make a conscious decision to walk that path. Is that any? Go ahead, John.
It's a stepwise progression too, right? Like from what I've learned, you have to burn away that morality, and when the phenomenon of dissociative identity disorder is is a mechanism for your brain to maintain sanity in the face of that. And at some point, the trauma gets so far where the brain just can break into psychopathy completely. And then they're making that conscious choice. And we've spoken, Carrie Olahe is a friend of yours now, and she's been on your show. She's a friend of ours on this show. And she describes how it's like the ones that, like, of the family members, they are they do it to their own children to create the psychopath, because humans are born free with free will and the spark of God. And it is a full-time job to grind that away in these
Yes.
children, right?
Yes,
So
it's not foolproof. Like they have to reprogram you over and over because the human instinct, that God spark, that life force that we have, doesn't want to do that. So they have to work really, really hard. And you're right, Sean, it's a formula that has been perfected. The Jesuits are the best at it. Mengele helped them. You use torture, you use trauma so severe that it shatters the person. They go into shock, their eyes are open and blank, and then you program and alter. And this is how they program people to be spies, assassins, honeypots, super soldiers, you name it. And even those in global positions of power that come from this family lineage, they are prepared for their psychopathic future role by this very process. So even some of the evil people out there doing evil things are actually also victims of this process. So that tells you, again, who are we? We can barely be programmed to do this stuff. And now, all of us, like Carrie and myself, and it's our light that they identified. I overheard this when I was very small, that they were taking my powerful light because they can't create anything. So they were going to take that and use it for darkness. And when I heard that, I was very small, like maybe 3-4 years old. And it gave me something to hold on to that I never let go of. And I was like, oh yeah, no, F that. Never will you turn me. And that's the flame, that the spark that lived in me that kept me alive all my life, was just this defiance. Like, you will never do that to me. I don't care how much you try. But yes, they do this process to the very people that then they install in all these critical global positions. So and that's why if you look at 50voices.org, where some of us were interviewed, where they're like 15-minute clips of all these SRA survivors from all over the world, what you'll see as you listen to those short little, they ask the same 4 questions, is the striking resemblance in the methodology. It's a playbook. It's been perfected over time. So SRA was the first form of mind control. Then around World War II, with the Tavistock Institute, they inserted psychiatry and military, and now technology has been folded into that. So they've really perfected continually the method, but it requires a lot of effort on their part to turn people to evil.
So you said they, right? Now you mentioned the Jesuits.
Can I say, as far as Jesuits go,
please,
absolutely perfected torture.
Right.
Absolutely. They are so good at it that the Pope took the Inquisition from the Dominicans and gave it to the Jesuits. The scene in the very Jesuitical movie Princess Bride, where the man with the 6 fingers stands over Wesley, and I'm freaking me out even talking about it. And it's silly. It's a silly fantasy. And he pulls a living, and the thing goes here, and then goes here, and the water runs out. And he says, I just took a year off of your life. What do you say to that? And all he can do is cry. And I tell people that's a deployment. That's a deployment. And he's sitting there and he's writing it down. That's the Jesuits. They are absolute sociopaths to completely objectively, without any reaction to pain, to have empathy or compassion, to simply take notes about the efficacy of the terror that they are committing on the victim. That is absolutely the Jesuits. This is part of what validated Max's story for me personally.
This
Yeah.
brings to
And
mind the Kinsey, Kinsey's Table 34. He trained the pedophiles to use a stopwatch,
Infants,
right?
they're
And he
sexually
says,
assaulting.
and like the definition of orgasm is trying to hit the partner that's raping the child, trying to hit and get away and avoid contact. Wow, that's weird. He's
Right.
crying and screaming, but he definitely enjoys the pleasure. Like, it's
Right.
so crazy. I mean, people are like, "Oh, that's science. Look, he
And
used
to
a
this day,
stopwatch."
supposedly
Fucking science.
the FBI goes to the University of Indiana and says, "Hey, can we take a look because there may have been some criminal
still
activity?
won't.
Can we?"
They won't.
And the University of Indiana says, "No," and FBI goes, "Okay, we will look."
Because the FBI works for the same. It's
Right,
the same.
right.
So
Thank you.
So the Jesuits. Okay, right. So the Jesuits are the structure. The Illuminati based their structure on the Jesuits, right? And all of this that Johnny has taught everybody in his books and his research about, the true Illuminati and what the Jesuit really is, and how the Freemasons are formed on this way, and how their oath is to like infiltrate everything and deceive everyone, turn everything, like turn snow black, like make it the opposite. And that's like the satanic inversion of Satanism.
White is black
right
and
there.
black is white.
Right. And then, you look at the Nazis' black sun, and you look at their, they call him Lucifer, but right, they're eating babies for him. Like, how much light is there really, for that character? So, in a really, who is they in your opinion, Max? What you were in an integrated hierarchy of trauma and torture, and you saw the structure, you heard how they capture your light, you can understand the process of this, you see who is doing it, you watch them get incarnated with evil as they do the rituals. Who is they in your opinion, please?
Well, you envision it like so much hierarchy, like a pyramid. So there's layers and layers, and then the bottom layer that actually holds them up is us, right? So that's again where we
Right.
can make a difference.
The foolish
Layer
dupes who obey, right? Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
The layer above us are the presidents, the prime ministers, and the politicians. So these people are actors. So we have Hollywood acting, and we have politics as a different theater. And
They're not really outsiders, Max. Donald Trump isn't an outsider. They came up out of Robert Francis Kennedy is not an outsider. Came up out of nowhere. You're crushing me. You're killing me, MAGA. Come on, you're crushing me.
It's like it's a movie. So we had the Blue Donkey production starring Joe Biden, and now we have the Red Elephant production starring Donald Trump. But this is part of the mind control. It's divide. It's like, oh well, these are the bad guys, these are the good guys. Half the population is in each camp, but these people don't have any say, any power. They are doing what they're told. They're acting out the script that they are given. And then you go up the layers of the hierarchy, and you have, the militaries and the global agencies and the Committee of 300 and the Club of Rome. And then at some point you have covens. So black magic is definitely used. And then, and you have the Vatican in there. And then they're all obeying the same top of the hierarchy. They're just slightly different versions. The Freemasons, the Vatican, the black nobility, the black sun, the dragon families, the bloodline. So it's just all part of this hierarchy. And at the very top, they're very dark entities and beings, Lucifer being one of them. And then there are others. And so different factions have their dark leader is a different character. So that's kind of who they are. They're psychopaths, they're pedophiles, they're Satanists. and they're parasites.
Wow.
And that's important to understand. They're parasites.
That is
Okay.
perfectly said. The way you summed it up right there, that last sentence is wow. Yes, they, and they inhabit a human body. I mean, they are humans, but a psychopath is not a human, in my opinion. If it doesn't have care, then it's not human, right? I mean,
they made the choice. They were human once, Sean.
Right,
They were human
right.
once, and they made the choice to walk away to further themselves. And so they still bear the full responsibility for their actions.
That's for damn sure.
Amen.
Yes.
They certainly do. They did choose willingly to follow a service to self path, but that path ends at a certain point. It's ego, but the real path, the path of the life force of the soul of God ends at the soul. It doesn't end, but there's a cap when you follow evil. You can't get but so far. So these people sell their souls for worldly power, wealth, fame, that kind of thing. Not for truth, and not for love, and not for what you can actually achieve if you take the light path.
Right. And the just the nature of light and dark, in order to get those worldly possessions and stuff, you have to hide truth from others and occult reality to keep them so that you can leech money out of them, in a way of like separating you in a higher place above them. I have truth, but you have to come to me for that. And then that's where they squeeze the money out, and the slavery and all of that, like compliance.
Yeah, everything is outside of yourself. Mind control program. It's the myth of authority. There is and has been created this obedience to authority, this idea that authority is even legitimate. And they did an experiment in 1963. You can go look it up, called the Milgram shock experiment. And what the experiment was is they had the subject who came in was unaware. There was an authority figure, the experimenter, and then there was a person learning a task. And the person learning the task was in on it. The subject had a panel in front of him of electric shock. And when the learner got an answer wrong, he was supposed to give a mild shock. But the panel had all the way to the end, it said death, danger, shock that's too high. So they wanted to see how far people would go against their moral code and humanness if told so by an authority figure. So when the experimenter told the person, turn the shock up, even when it said danger and death, and the person wasn't really being shocked, but acted like they were being shocked, most people, 60-some%, turned the dial all the way to what they thought could kill the person. Why? Because the authority figure told them so.
They did the same experiments with the German concentration camp guards, of how, the Nazis, they're just inhuman. No, they're normal people. They were just trained by their culture and their surroundings to take orders and do what they're told. And that took them to an insane level.
Yeah. And so on an individual level, these same people probably wouldn't do what they are willing to do because they are, quote, given an order by a, quote, authority figure. And I mean, who's flying the planes that spray us with chemtrails? Why are you doing that? What the hell is that?
Mellow Cat has this woman, she calls herself Mellow Cat. She's got a Substack, and she was just on my friend Loomis's podcast, Chant It Down. She confronted one of these chemtrail pilots.
Wow.
She figured out with her apps and stuff, which plane is the one right above me right now. She found the hangar, went there, recorded it, said, we don't appreciate you spraying this stuff on our houses. And he's like, I'm just doing my job. Just like the Nuremberg defense, like just like the Nazis. Same. It's perfect when you mention that. Like, it's yeah.
And it's when people stop doing that and choose the moral thing, regardless of if you lose your job. I mean, screw that. Lose your job.
Exactly.
If you don't do the right thing and stand up to evil, we're all gone.
Right.
Okay. There's no.
And then you got to dream and have that memory and remember doing that. Like the end of Full Metal Jacket, when the big tough guy is like, he doesn't have the guts to kill this poor woman who's saying shoot me, and he wants to leave her there, and he wants to have that memory of walking away, and for the rest of his life he's going to be like, oh, I left her there in pain and torture and torment, and it's just like, who can keep that memory on purpose? It's so, like, just for a paycheck. Like, really think about your future self has to deal with these memories. Like, whoa.
Well,
Anyway,
accountability is huge.
So I didn't mean to jump on your words there.
No, accountability is huge. Accountability is huge. Who do you really? Basic questions. Do you have an eternal soul? Yes or no? Okay, yeah, sure. Do you believe that you will be accountable to a higher authority with that eternal soul someday? Okay, sure. Okay, stop. Look back on what you've done. What do you think you're going to be held accountable for? Okay,
is that higher authority you? Are you going to be the one judging you?
Or do you just say F it? Or do you just say F it? Hey, I have an empire in front of me right now. All I have to do is be evil to have this empire, and I'll pay the check later. Does that make any sense? And yet, so many people do that. I will tell you as a quick aside, whether or not chemtrails are legit is some point of contention within our community. And
stratospheric aerosol injection. That's the word.
I'm leaning towards the fact that it absolutely is legit. I think that it is part of weather manipulation. And that is a weapon that no entity, no government, no power would dare walk away from. Weather manipulation is absolutely huge. And to have particulate constantly in the atmosphere just makes sense to me. In relation to whether or not it's a natural effect, my follow-on question is, why the patterns? Why is it that when I look on the bad chemtrail days, do I see patterns that appear to maximize the particulate being spread in the atmosphere? So we don't know.
Does Mount Shasta snow have like 6,000%?
People are measuring.
Snow, like
increase in metals in soil. So I think there's definitely something there. And
there's
Monsanto is selling seeds.
Agenda there. There's many agendas, what you said, Johnny. But there's one also which is to take away the light. So, they tell us the sun is bad for us, wear sunscreen, wear sunglasses. We're supposed to get that light from the sun in our eyes and on our skin. And, and then, Bill Gates, like, oh, we got to dim the sun. Well, the sun is life. Every spring, what happens when the sun comes back full force, right? So they want to take away the light because that light also goes in our brains and opens up our consciousness. So they're also wanting to remove the sun and the light of the sun, which has a divine component to it.
And spin it as the sun is bad. The sun is heating up the earth. The sun is causing warmth. And what's the bottom line?
They're sun worshippers.
Right. Wait a minute. The logo of the Jesuits is a sunburst, right? The center of St. Peter's Square is a sunburst that looks pretty much like the United Kingdom flag, right? Okay. And in the middle of that is the PP of Osiris, okay?
It's all Sol Invictus.
Absolutely. Like, they're the real ones. They are.
Tammuz, right? Tammuz is the daughter, or the son.
Messianic son, right.
Of Ishtar. And Ishtar is the Mother Mary. Like, I just read the Alexander Hislop, like the Two Babylons, this book.
Whoa. You just read what?
Alexander
Hislop, the Two Babylons.
Yeah.
What an absolute keeper! What an absolute keeper! Shows book. You really. So this gets deep. I'm getting chills. It's deep into the Babylonian heritage of the Catholic Church.
Exactly. Why?
Mother, child, and all.
I knew I was having this conversation with the both of you, so I was like, okay, I want to get this stuff in my head because I want it to bubble out. You know what I mean? So So Semiramis is their Queen Mother Mary. Like, this is they, this dark religion. It's the same as ancient Babylon, like portrayed again and continuously throughout.
Hearts, cut out hearts.
Cybele and right. And the Tammuz, the word Tammuz means to purify and fire is like the earthly representation of their sun deity,
Can I
That's
step on
why
you for
they're
just a
putting the
second?
babies into the fire.
Yes,
Like,
yes. Let me. So
right,
for the Christian, this is propitiatory. Okay, Jesus Christ bore that for us. The serpent
right.
put up on the brass serpent put up on a pole. For the Luciferians, they make it literal. They
Right.
take the babies, the innocent babies, and they make them suffer. That is the biggest, hugest difference between the one camp and the other.
Yeah, like it is reassuring with Christianity as opposed to Catholicism, because
Well,
Catholicism,
and let me
we
say,
can see.
let's be clear here. I'm not talking about organized religion. As I
Right,
shared with
right,
you
right.
guys, organized religion is part of the problem.
It
Organized
is a
religion is part of the
hierarchy.
problem.
Yes, it is a
Yes,
hierarchy.
and anytime human beings get in between the
Right.
believer and the deity, they are hijacking for the purpose of enslavement. Okay?
Exactly
Period.
that. And it's the same way if the way that when someone is following orders, that evil deceiver is hijacking your free will given to you by God. Like, it's the same where they're hijacking that power that you have and making you slave.
And
Right.
they tell you they represent God. They're telling you they
Right.
represent God. So shut up, turn
Right.
off your ethics, turn off your conscience, and just do what I do. The Holy Father, listen, my child. The Holy Father says he needs you to go in and poison your boss. The Holy Father says he needs you to kill your husband. Whatever the case is.
And of course, like the Catholic Church, like I grew up Catholic, I mean, and I had the normal Catholic
And I
abuse,
want to alienate
what I mean, of
Catholics.
just like
You're right.
neglect and like mind
Right.
control. But just to see the dead body every week and to see the Stations of the Cross, which are like actually like a previous, like the Trials of Hercules and stuff. It's the same. It's like the same idea of like to see the pain of your
Sean, it's
hero
blended
being
truth. It's blended
sacrificed,
truth.
and
Don't
then
leave
you
him
drink
hanging
the
on the
blood.
cross.
Right? Then you're
Right? It's
drinking his
blended truth.
blood.
Have him who he is now. Don't have the little baby. Okay, when I go to the little baby, I got to go to the Queen of Heaven. Don't have him hanging on the. It's what they emphasize. It's just so Jesuitical of taking a truth but emphasizing the wrong thing in a really warped, twisted manner.
And
That's
that's the
what.
occultation. And then in a way, they're imposing that hierarchy is imposing it's stealing the free will. And then in so doing, it makes you a piece of this hierarchical pyramid that Max taught us about earlier.
And they're harvesting people's energy. So people go to churches or whatnot for a good intention. They're trying to connect to that divine, right? But it's set up to actually again, they have no energy of their own. They have to take ours. So in the Catholic Church, the ritual of communion is a satanic ritual. Okay. You're doing exactly what I saw underneath the Vatican. You're drinking blood and you're eating flesh, and I mean, and then they're saying it's Jesus's body and blood. I mean, it's so
How
distorted.
even more horrific. It's your hero, your
Right.
morality, your king.
So,
Like,
but
Let me
when
tell you real quick. This
when
was a
people
point.
do that, though, just my quick point, when people do that, they are giving their energy to that satanic ritual. So that's they harvest from us all the time. They harvest our income, they harvest our connection to the divine, they harvest everything about us. They want our souls.
Can I tell you, the Inquisition
so
has
well said. Like,
the Inquisition has burned alive Christians who question transubstantiation. John chapter 6 is very, and forgive me for getting into the weeds on this stuff because this is important to me as a Christian versus the Catholic doctrine of transubstantiation where the Catholic Church teaches, no, this is the real blood and body and flesh of Jesus Christ. Whereas it's quite clear in John chapter 6 where Jesus says he's testing his followers. Do you want to have eternal life? Eat my flesh and drink my blood. And all the people that were there for a free meal disappear. And the disciples are there. And he says, how come you're still here? And they say, well, where are we going to go? You have the message. And explain this to us. He's talking about the Spirit. He's not talking about cannibalism. And yet the Catholic Church took that and ran with it. And anyone that questioned transubstantiation, the idea that every single Mass the wafer, which has nothing to do with Christianity, the Babylonian wafer literally becomes the flesh, and the wine literally becomes the blood, that they would burn alive anyone that questioned that, because it absolutely is integral to this philosophy that Max is talking about.
Believe it, believe the mind control, or die. Right.
Yes.
And then you see the wafer.
It takes something good and twist it.
Right. And then what you're ingesting is a little circle disc of the sun. It's like the white light of the sun. Like,
yes, the monstrance. What does the priest hold up? The monstrance, the sunburst with the Eucharist inside of it, and the crescent moon holding the Eucharist. Absolutely, it has nothing to do with Christianity.
That right there is Nimrod, is Tammuz, is
yes,
all the other ones, like Dumuzid, and like the one. So this is, and it's the same Baal that was mentioned earlier. She was Max was talking about the scientific elements spell the word Baal. They love those little tricks,
Kabbalism.
You got to pay your bill. You got to go play ball. Like, this is the focus of like the dollar bill. Like, and the consonants are a stay, but the vowels are interchangeable. So B vowel L is like, it's ball. It's the same, but it could be bill, it could be bull, or anyway. So
I want to break down
the language works. I don't mean
Sean,
to bring us down into this little
I want to double tap, Sean, if I could. I'm sorry for stepping on. I want to double tap this concept. It's so very important for people asking questions. Everyone that is in a powerful position, Max is telling you, they've been affected by this. At the bare minimum, they've been affected by this, okay? Please don't look at anyone in a position of authority, position of power, and not think. When I look back, just from the difference of 10 years when I originally wrote Illuminati Unmasked, and I was pretty hard on Barack Obama's policies of being left wing. Now I look back on that guy and I say, oh my goodness, that guy is a total tortured puppet. That guy has clearly been completely manipulated from beginning to end. He is simply playing a role, and he's so weak he can't even go in front of 6th grade children without teleprompters, because the guy is empty and the machine created him. And speaking of children,
the perfect puppet to have up there. You know what I mean? Like, he won't
completely
think of anything of his own. Like, he'll only be saying what they say. Like, they can fill him up like a chalice.
Let me tell you about a ritual that you have to do when you're 40 in order to then be allowed into any position of power. You have to rape a child, and you have to participate in a human sacrifice. Okay, and then they have this on you. So blackmail is. These different factions of the cult, the Illuminati, the Jesuits, the this, the that, they work together, but they're psychopaths, so they don't trust each other, and they'll lie, cheat, and steal, even with each other. So they always have blackmail material. That's what the honeypot thing is for. My dear friend Kathy O'Brien talks about that. She was a sex slave she names certain people, and all of this is on record. So then again, it shows you again that if people want to leave that and deviate and speak the truth, we've got you raping a child. You can't,
right.
And then if you go too far, they'll also just kill you.
There's a Navy SEAL named Craig Sawyer.
It seals you in. Like, once you choose that, then it's done. There's no going back. Just like in Eyes Wide Shut, none can change her fate. There's no going back. Like, okay,
like in Hotel California,
if you're gonna rape that, yes, exactly. Right. You can never leave, right?
You can never leave.
Yeah, like, you make that choice. Time does not exist in the other realms. Like, when you make that choice, it's forever. And you can't unring a bell. Like, you don't put the toothpaste back in the tube, and then once it's documented, then they can use it. And if you people should listen to my episodes with Jerry Marzinski. He talks about the voices that schizophrenics listen to, hear. These are demons. They are not yourself. It is not your voice. They try to make you think it's you, and they convince you of these things, and they tell you these things. And so it's not just the schizophrenics. Schizophrenics are plagued a lot more than us, but really they can attack all of us. And it's a system of control to get us into this compliance. And so once they have that, then they can use that guilt inside you, and those voices, they know everything you've done. They have access to your full memory in your brain, and they can remind you of this guilt and keep you stuck in this trap of, like, just the way that you were describing of the blackmail keeps people stuck in the trap. It also keeps their mind in the trap of complying with this evil force that is like giving them this signal, and he even talks about it like the demons are clocking in and they're just like, oh, we're here for 8 hours, I gotta bug this guy now, blah blah blah. It's, holy crap. But
Actually, Johnny has a beautiful kitty on his lap, and cats. Well, cats protect you against the evil spirits. They have a way of sort of knowing what's there, and I have a cat too, and yeah,
they
they're
don't protect me, they manipulate me.
Well, that's a whole different thing.
It's because you love them so much.
There is years ago, by 2016, a Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL who does Veterans for Child Rescue, Craig Sawyer, went on the Scott Helmer show. And then I went on the day after, and then Craig came back and did a show. And Craig talked about this process. He talked about, unfortunately I lost it, but if anybody has access to it, Craig talked about the blackmail process. And he said one day someone will break out of the process and break out of this vicious blackmail system and say, I don't care what you have on me. I'm going to do what's right. And I immediately, but my little voice said, that's Craig talking about himself. Craig is really big. He's retired. He does veterans. Okay, pause. What, you have a nonprofit called Veteran for Children Rescue, Child Rescue. What? You mean to tell me that the FBI, the most powerful law enforcement operation in the world, they can't track down the pedophiles? They need a bunch of... I tried to join them, and they ignored me. I tried to join them. They can't track down the pedophiles.
You're actually trying to find the pedophile.
Right.
They want to cover it up, man.
Right. What we need...
They can know what you're thinking about buying and send you an ad, but they can't track down a pedophile.
Right. Are you kidding me? That's what their job. So if anybody gets arrested... Watch it, fat boy. If anybody gets arrested trafficking children or trafficking drugs, it's because they're not on the team. And the team is a government operation. And for me personally, above the government is the Vatican. That's just my opinion based on my research. So absolutely legit. I want to tell you, it was really special for me to interview Kathy O'Brien. And the fact that your testimonies match very well. It's a investigative proof to me that you have two witnesses in different rooms and they're both saying the same thing. That corroborates the story. And part of those stories are the satanic hunting parties. This what is it? Susan Collins. The movies and books that she wrote, and in this case, the Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh, you mean the Hunger Games?
Hunger Games. Oh, and I'm watching this and I'm saying, okay, first of all, Jennifer Lawrence admits she had to stand naked in front of a female producer as part of, okay.
And those pictures that were released of her being naked and all that humiliation she had to deal with.
Right. And to me, what they're doing is they took on the surface what is scandalous but palatable, and they allow that. But the real dirt, the real Satanism, that's what they keep a secret. And so Jennifer Lawrence is part of Me Too. I personally, and Max, I want to get your input on this. What I see is that the vast majority of children are expendable. They use them and discard them. But a select few children, they elevate. I believe that Justin Bieber is one, Miley Cyrus is another, of these children that have been used, and Michael Jackson is another, use and abuse them and then prop them up and put them into the spotlight. And to me, what is significant is Michael Jackson. I don't believe that I saw this as an adult and it never occurred to me. Michael Jackson's incessant surgeries as a result, not to be redundant, of his terrible the view that he had of himself, that he hated himself for being used, and so he was constantly changing himself, covering themselves in tattoos. Cyrus and Bieber covering themselves in meltdowns. Britney Spears shaving her head and having meltdowns. These are all indicative of this process of being abused.
These poor young girls that are abused and think they're trans, and all of a sudden they're like what they're going through too. Go ahead.
Britney shaving her head and doing that is an example of her mind control breaking down. Okay. So then they took her kids and they put her right into reprogramming. So again, these folks it's really hard to keep them in that. And then the cult is very clever. So every time a segment of the population wakes up to some truth, they have another layer of deception. So for example, a lot of SRA survivors, the programming has been breaking down. People are speaking out. So then they come out with the Sound of Freedom movie. Okay, well, child trafficking's out of the box, but let's control it. Right. Let's make a movie of it. And of course, they don't say that this is from the top down. They don't say the very people you're looking to as leaders of the world are the ones consuming these trafficked children.
It's always the lone gunman, right?
It's the weird... So they take the truth and they squelch it down a little bit. So that's the procedure that they will do with all of these disclosures. And then they disclose things because per universal law, they have to get our consent, which not saying no is considered implied consent. The Hunger Games, what is their plan? We're now at that point, these people that run the world, they don't see countries or nations. It's a chessboard. So there's always been a plan to eliminate nations and nationalism because that's a barrier to the complete control agenda, right? So the Hunger Games is just a predictive, it's showing you what the future is. The Matrix is a documentary. Jason Bourne and these kind of movies are showing you mind-controlled slaves. Okay, right. All these, I'm currently, I watch things for interest. I study, I'm watching Blacklist. And it's like, wow, oh, damn. Oh, they're revealing this. Oh, they're talking about that. Oh, my God, there it is. I mean, so right. It's all out there, but it's the little...
Blown cover is cover. Yeah. Shine the spotlight on it. I'm sorry,
It's always the bad guy that has the good lines, too, right? It makes you want to be the bad guy, really. Right. Like, this is...
Well, but by design. Sorry, and I mean, step on you guys, but by design, they want the police and the soldiers to be able to crack down on people that make sense. Okay, that's why all of these the hero movies, the Batman movies, the Joker. You're like, wait a minute, I identify with this guy, right. Spider-Man, and Roman Catholic Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I identify with these guys. They want the system. They want to muddy the waters, and they want the Praetorians. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And they take away the morality.
And you go for you watch these movies and you identify with the rebels, but then in real life, people are apathetic and comply. But again, like some people, the Q is another psyop that I tried to explain to someone. It's like, okay, no, this is for people that woke up to a degree, and then they say the truth. They always mix the best mind controls to mix truth with distortion. So the distortion there is trust the plan and do nothing, right? So it parks someone who's awake and maybe energized to do something. Now you're trapped there. And the person I was arguing with said, no, because they reveal a lot of truth. So now they're going to wake up other people. And I said, no, they're not. The people that are not ready to wake up will reject it as a conspiracy theory, like they did with COVID. Those people will say it's not true. And the ones that know the truth will be hijacked by, just like the Sound of Freedom and Q and every disclosure that they give a little bit because they know some people are already there. And then there's a new level of trap.
It is a stepwise progress, right? So not only are they doing the revelation, but they're also dragging you down this pathway that is like greased and ready for your consciousness. Like I've been looking at this new movie from a genius director, Robert Eggers. It's Nosferatu, this new one that it's like photography is beautiful and it's legit to the dark occult essences that they're trying to display. And really, like, Dracula is no longer just like some monster that drinks blood. It is a reincarnated corpse who is death, basically. And the young girl, like the young girl who happens to be Johnny Depp's daughter, which is like, whoa, another thing. But and his Satanism, that he's friends with the, the murderer of West Memphis 3 and all that crap. But anyway, like so in the beginning of the 90s or whatever, the beginning of these vampire movies, they were giving us like the young teenage girl falls in love with vampire, right? And it's like some pretty like teenage boy who like sparkles in the sunlight, you know what I mean? It's like they're really changing the idea of what a vampire is and making young girls love it and want to fornicate with this evil thing, but it's shiny and pretty, right? It's Lucifer. Look how shiny, right? And then okay, we get the movies progress, and then like, oh, then she marries the thing, and then she gets pregnant with the thing, and it's the baby is eating her from inside, and she's becoming dead. Like she's like, it's sucking all her life force, and she's like, ugh. And eventually, to save her, she becomes a vampire. Oh, yay, that'll fix it, right? And that's the end of that series. And now with this Nosferatu, the young girl is literally fornicating with death. The end, death is mounting her, and she's like, come on, okay, let's go. And he's like, I mean, it's this, and he's got maggots falling out of him. He's not like a pretty shiny thing anymore. But this young girl is still accepting it. She's been indoctrinated, and she's into this path of like, yep, okay, love this vampire thing. And like, and really it's like she's sacrificing herself to save everybody from this monster or whatever. It's like she's a selfless act, but still like but it like they drag Hollywood is run by the evil, and they're taking our consciousness into this love affair with death and decay, and like it like that is what it's doing. Also, it's not just like, oh look, hey, we're doing 9/11,
well, Hollywood
Simpsons or whatever.
It's there for social engineering, and if you pay attention over the decades, they move the Overton window slowly. What's once considered shocking and unacceptable today is just so normal. Sexuality used to be part of a sacred union. It used to be something that was physical but also spiritual, and now today it's satanic. You run and you have sex with someone you don't even know their name. Right. So that's been a success.
Swipe left, swipe right.
Yes. Right. Yes. So they do that. They literally do that with everything. And I look at TV to study it. And so, for example, that show Grey's Anatomy, it was very popular because, the storyline was fun and the characters and the relationship. But what was the thing that I noticed the most? They graphically showed bodies being cut open, organs there, blood there. Okay, I've seen that in my childhood. They want to desensitize us and get us used to this. That's what reminded me, the maggots and this, this is a satanic thing. And so they want to normalize. Our society today they have succeeded in great measure. It is based on satanic ideology, based on the ego, on competition, on dog eat dog, on me, on violence. It's kind of sad, but we have, unfortunately, and they've always wanted to, from what I heard as a small child, normalize pedophilia and normalize Satanism. Look at the music videos, look at the Hollywood, look at the Olympic opening ceremony. It's right there in your face. And then look at the UNESCO new curriculum for schools globally that are saying that children are, have its rights. Oh, they have the right to be sexual. So now children in kindergarten are being taught to masturbate, what oral and anal sex are. In Germany, I read about some daycare centers that have masturbation rooms for the children to go. The books that you see out there.
Gender confusion, Max. What 7-year-old child is confused? They're only confused about their gender because you're confusing them.
Right.
But
a masturbation room.
That's to normalize pedophilia. See, so you take a community, you take the gay and transgender community, who are just people trying to live their lives and love who they love, and then you piggyback on there an agenda to move the Overton window of tolerance to accept pedophiles. They want to put a P on the LGBTQ at the end of that.
Right.
It's minor attracted persons. And with all this gender confusion, if you can't offend someone because they're saying that they're a woman, but they're a man, then you can't offend a pedophile when he wants to rape a child. It's all designed to normalize this. It's a step-by-step, drip-by-drip process. And it's also satanic inversion because we are two genders, male and female. So let's invert that. And I mean, and then it's a way to also take women out of the picture. So now Women of the Year award and this and that, every beauty pageant, it's all men who are supposed, and it's kind of offensive. It's like, I forget, it was Dylan Mulvaney, that character's like, oh, I have tampons in my purse. You don't fucking know. I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse, but you
Please
don't know.
swear, I love it.
You're being real.
Know what it's like to menstruate every month for 40
That's
years
not
of
fun.
your life or whatever, and you don't know what it's like to get pregnant and give birth. You don't know. Don't appropriate my womanhood and pretend you're a woman. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a mockery.
It's exactly that. And I just wanted to remind everybody of what I was saying earlier about Cybele and Ishtar. Cybele had these Gali priests who were men who would chop off their all of their genitalia, call them nummos, and dance around as women and prostitute themselves and give that money to the church. They could be nuns of Inanna too. They could also, and isn't that funny? It's the same thing now, like it's same. Why? And like the mind control then of like giving your children to the church to be raped as a child of Inanna or whatever, or like,
which Catholic said happened to her. Which guy said happened to her? Can I say Dylan Mulvaney, raised Roman Catholic? Can I go back to the movies real quick? Okay, Sound of Freedom. Overwhelmingly Roman Catholic. Oh, Jim Caviezel, Alejandro Monteverde. Okay, this was all part of the, yes, be upset about this, but go back to sleep because these brave men are working in the background. But same thing with Craig Sawyer.
Just like part the Q thing, right?
Yes. Go Operation Trust. Go back to sleep. And real quick, as a quick Catholic, okay, the Catholic Church saying go back to sleep. I wanted to mention the specifics of Hunger Games and the terrors of what both Kathy and Max have explained of these demons hunting children, capturing them, raping some, and murdering others. And this goes to ranches, secluded ranches, islands, isolated islands, Bohemian Grove, the Knights of Hubertus, the Roman Catholic Knights of Hubertus, run by the Roman Catholic Church. They're intimately involved with this. Antonin Scalia was involved with this. It could very well be that was part of his unusual death. Okay, so for me personally, this all traces back, and like I said, the fact that things that Kathy O'Brien have said have come together perfectly with things that Max has said in relation to the ritual and the command and the domination, the utility of the Catholic Church using these things. I've heard rumors that Suzanne Collins is just a front, that all they're doing is taking what they've already done and putting it up for your consumption. Oh my goodness, the Godzilla movies, the new Godzilla movies, where they call it. They use the Bohemian Grove owl and
of course
and the butterfly. What the
Monarch.
The Monarch, Project Monarch. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So people are starting to question the spinning globe silliness, and they say, "Oh no! It's not flat Earth. It's hollow Earth, and it's Project Monarch, and it's the Bohemian Grove owl eyes, and you don't even realize what it is. They're serving it up to you to normalize it, just like what Max has said."
Yeah, and think about the word Super Bowl, superb. Owl.
Right.
It's all in the language too. They're always telling you everything. I mean, think of the word hello that you say to each other. English is the language that was created. It's the most that's why I call it spelling. It's a language. Everything is frequency. So English, no accident, it's become the global language. Okay, you got to look at all of it.
is it the original language of Nimrod? Are we
Latin
being
based.
brought back to that?
It's Latin based.
Yeah. And yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, when I first saw Google come out, I was like, oh, go Ogle.
Google's birthday,
right
the 27th
there.
of September, is the birthday of the Jesuits. Google's birthday is the 27th of September, the birthday of the Jesuits.
So, Johnny, explain to us how these Jesuit dates are significant in the events that it seems to be disparate, unconnected events.
It's what Oh, love you, pal. It's what Max is saying
about this.
Yeah, it's what Max is saying. It's Kabbalism. It's these Luciferians trying to coach out power from another dimension. You look at, I mentioned this many times, you look at October 7th. This is Vladimir Putin's birthday. This is the date commemorating the Templar victory against the Ottomans, the Battle of Lepanto. This is the initiation of the global war on terror. Operation Enduring Freedom is October 7th. And this also happens to be the Hamas Rape Fest. Wait a minute. Why would Hamas want to honor the Catholic Church, want to honor the Crusaders against the Ottomans? But this is all their Kabbalism. I was just talking about it in my show yesterday. The Beirut bombing of over 300 Marines and many other innocents were slaughtered in, was it 83? And it happened to have occurred on October 23rd, which is the birthday of Ignatius of Loyola. It was their homage. The very famous story came out in Jaws of the sinking of the Indianapolis, the cruiser that delivered the A-bomb, which really never existed, that sank. Those men sat in the water. They ignored them. So that nearly the entire crew was eaten alive by sharks over across there's a 31 July. That is the beatification of Ignatius of Loyola. April 7th is the birthday of Francis Xavier. It's the day that the World Health Organization was founded. August 7th is the birthday of the resurrection of the Jesuits in 1814. It's the day that Carrie Banks Mullis died in 2019, right before the Carrie Banks Mullis, the founder of the PCR test that they have used to scam people into AIDS, to scam people into coronavirus. They do this. Oh, do we have, how much time do we have for April 19th?
Yeah, plenty of time, buddy. Yeah, April 19th is a big one, right?
April 19th, 1541. The first one that I'm aware of was the day that Ignatius Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuits. How many April 19th after that?
Day. That's Bicycle Day, according, the scientist who discovered LSD discovered it on that day.
Oh, right. So how many?
4/19 is Bicycle Day. Everybody, like LSD was given to us on Bicycle Day. It's funny.
It's such an important date, Sean and Max, that they actually branch it out 3 or 4 days before and 3 or 4 days after.
Right.
Let's not forget that Hitler was born on the day after, on April 20th. That's the date of Columbine.
Yes.
They had the Gulf catastrophe where they sabotaged the.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
It is a very big list, and this is within a period of time, 40 days before Beltane, which is like the season of sacrifice, and 420 and 419 is like right at the peak of that. And so it's not only stamping it with their this is Ignatius Loyola's men who did this thing. It's also,
they're encouraging the demons. They're encouraging, just like Max said, they're encouraging the demons. Please work with us. We are destroying our compassion and our empathy. We don't want to be human. We want to get ahead. So we're going to do something evil on a day special to you. That's what they're doing.
And they use astrology, they use numerology. They're very into the full moon, the new moon, the equinox, the this, the that. Halloween is a ritual holiday. September 11th is a massacre, sacrifice by fire day. You can actually still find it online if you go and Google the Satanic Calendar. It'll give you a whole bunch of dates where they do this and they do that. So they love their new moons and full moons and this. And you're right, Johnny, it's like 3 days before, 3 days after. So it's an energetic window for them to do, there's no accident they blew up the Twin Towers on September 11th. Right. That's also when the U.S. killed the Chilean president, Salvador Allende, back in the 70s on that same day. You'll find commonalities. They do things. It's part of their black magic.
11 years before 9/11, George H.W. Bush was talking about the 1,000 points of light. Talking about, the brave new
To my
world.
knowledge, it was Bush Senior who
But that's what I'm
ordered
saying.
the
H.W. Bush
blow up.
was saying
Yeah.
it 11 years exactly before. And and 11 there with the Kabbalism is like to break beyond 10, and with the Qliphoth tree, the Qliphoth tree is about the separation from the light, and it's got that extra 11th step where it fully separates. And you were talking about that earlier, Max, about how they are dividing away from the light. And it's like, anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get off track.
Real quick, I don't know if anybody's tracking this, but I think he's passed now, a professor at the University of Pennsylvania, very big player. Donald Trump left the Jesuits at Fordham to go to the University of Pennsylvania. I've got information that says that the Jesuits have been with the University of Pennsylvania since Hellfire Club. Benjamin Franklin started it in 17 whatever. Michael Heiser claims that September 11th, 2 or 3 BC is the birth of Jesus. So this is the mirroring of them. They want to take something sacred and mirror it and mock it, but tap into it.
And that's that's the death of the king, the sacrifice of the king.
Right.
Right.
So they want to ride that, just like Max is saying. They can't do it themselves. They ride something legitimate for their own purposes.
And it's just like every week they give us the pain and torture of him, and like we feel compassion for this man who did no sin.
But don't get any closer. Just look at him up there. Don't get any closer. Just look at him.
Yeah, and this will be you if you disobey Rome, But anyway, go ahead.
Do a lot of rituals, by the way, and sacrifices with children in certain locations where there has been like a battlefield with a lot of death, so they also choose locations that hold that energy of massacre to do other rituals on top of, and then there's the whole thing about ley lines and how everything is built. The Vatican, the Washington Monument, in very specific sites and places. Again, it's all about harvesting the energy and the souls. And, the earth has a soul too. So they're very methodical with every single thing they do. It's not just haphazard.
Real quick on that, but Sean, real quick. I'm sorry for stepping on you.
No, you're good. Please.
In relation to on top of, isn't it interesting that the Jesuits they're not pushing their religion? They're scientists. They're astronomers. They're archaeologists.
Just like Francis Bacon in the beginning.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, behind him is Toby Matthew, the Jesuit, right? So you've got Jesuits like Pierre Teilhard de Chardin, who's creating the Piltdown Man to rescue Darwinian evolution. You've got the Jesuits running the Lucifer telescope for the public University of Arizona on Mount Graham, and Arizona stole that location from the Apache. It was a sacred burial ground. Why are you putting an observatory with a telescope with a lens that you say has the acronym of Lucifer? Why is it so important that you put it on an Apache burial ground? The UN building is built on a cattle slaughter pen. Okay, so you want, just like Max is saying, you want the dark energy of mass slaughter as part of what you're doing. The United Nations looking into the stars, the Jesuits looking into the stars. I just wanted to back up Max, what she was saying.
Yeah, and by the way, under the UN is a whole system of tunnels, a facility where children are raped and experimented on. This is actually under hospitals, under daycare centers and schools, under religious institutions, and strategic, exactly what you're saying, Johnny, locations where there have been burial sites or massacre sites.
Oh, my God.
So this reminds
everything
me
is connected, like every conspiracy, everything, like really, it's all here in this one episode.
And they laugh at you, Sean. Then they bring up the foolishness of the satanic panic, where you have guys like Roman Catholic cross-dresser, Christian Brothers trained Rudolph Giuliani, who was a federal prosecutor that supposedly looked into the satanic panic of soldiers children being raped at West Point and the Presidio, and he said nothing to see here. And then they bring up these guys like Michael Aquino and Geraldo Rivera and put them on daytime television and make a mockery out of it. Meanwhile, it's really going on.
Right. Yep. Oprah is doing her duty. Like, Geraldo's
yeah. Oh,
doing
come
it.
on,
They all work
Geraldo.
for
Come on,
them.
don't be silly, right?
Dude, and all the people eating bonbons at home, they just finished their chores and they're waiting for their kids to come home, and they're like sitting on the couch watching Oprah, and they got their they're crying into their tissue paper or whatever, like, oh, you got a car, the emotions that she wields, like, wow.
That's everything. Whenever something starts to threaten to come out into the public consciousness, they're going to rush to do something about it. So they created something in the 90s called the False Memory Syndrome Foundation.
University of Pennsylvania.
It was staffed by MK Ultra CIA types and known pedophiles. Okay.
Exactly.
Because again, the mind control was breaking down. People were beginning to talk about satanic ritual abuse. Can't have that. Let's create this perception that these are implanted fake memories. Every time something threatens to come out historically, they jump up and have something to push it back down.
It seems so crazy. Like, why would a doctor implant that memory into someone? What's the use of that?
This is out of the University of Pennsylvania, which we just talked about, and the husband and wife team. How this did not immediately discredit them? Were they freed or fried?
Right. Their kid was
their daughter says, "My parents raped me." Are you kidding me? How that didn't immediately discredit them? It just blows my mind. How you have a president that was supposedly close friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and you put him back in office?
But
nothing to see here.
I mean, Kinsey gave you table 34 in the book. It's there. It's like this 12-month-old baby was raped this many times in this many hours, and people just turn the page. Oh, that's scientific. Oh, children are sexual since birth, I guess. Like, it's just, they're blind. Like, we talked to Max and I, the first time Max was on the show, the main topic was the trauma, how the trauma blinds all of us. And the more horrific, the more blinding it can be. Like, we just don't want to look, and our brain is keeping it from our consciousness. No, like little babies getting eaten alive, waved around on swords. Like, I was crying my face off. Like, I had on mute here, but just her telling the story again, I can't. I can't.
Let me tell you real quick. A warning to soldiers and operators. Everyone out there, listen to me. Having been in the military, everyone out there, you walk down the hall, you open the door, you see something that terrifies you, and you're told walk away. If you close that door, you are committing the crime that's in that room. Yep. Okay. You're committing the crime that's in that room. Just a message right here and right now. Doesn't matter what your past is. You stop. Take a stand. Take a stand.
I want everybody to go into into the beginning of Wake the Dead and look for Kaiser quitting the cult. His friend of mine named Kaiser. He was working for the military, and he was in Afghanistan, I think, during the time of Obama. He opened up a drawer of a bunch of passports from this African country, I forget, but the military, or the African nation, took a bunch of slaves and sold them to Obama, and they have all their passports like stowed in this drawer, like held hostage. Basically, you can't leave, and you are ours. We own you in this drawer. And he opens the drawer and he says, "Hey," he says to his buddy, "this is not right." And the guy says, "Close the drawer. Just close it. Don't even pay attention." And he quit the next day. He's all done. And this guy is a real hero. Like, all of, like, I mean, you yourself used to work for them, Johnny, and you're done. Like, you would never, follow orders again, right? This is what, I mean, the idea of like agreeing to the evil is your compliance with it.
Consent.
Now you are in the blob. The blob of evil has you.
This is crazy. Look at Max. How did Max stand up against this massive machine? They could do anything. Right. All she had to do was have her own will, and say no. No. And this crazy thing is so many don't. That the prison door is open. All you got to do is press on it, push on it, it opens up. And many people, if they do it, they get scared. They run back into the prison cell. There's only a select few. They push. Wow, this is open the whole time. Let me talk real quick about what's his name? Kinsey. I always want to take back to
let's smash that dude. I hate him.
the Roman
Sorry.
Catholic. I want to say that his pornographer was a guy by the name of Samuel Stewart that he met at Roman Catholic DePaul University and Loyola Chicago. I also have evidence in my third book, Eaters of Children, that he baptized his children in the Catholic Church. Okay, so it's not just some guy floating around there. He was also involved in the Boy Scouts, where he tried to molest kids.
Before he was in the Boy Scouts, he was with his local church molesting the kids on camping trips.
Right, and that was a Protestant church. I can't remember which. I have it in my Ears of Children,
but he was
all
like,
connected.
when all of them tried to pee, he was trying to grab on them while they're
right.
These are the people though that the cult will promote. If you're doing something like Kathy O'Brien's dad was a pedophile, was raping her, was making movies, he got caught, he got rewarded. If you sell your daughter into Monarch programming, you won't get prosecuted. That's what they do. They seize upon people already doing these things, and then they elevate them and bring them into the situation. And, there's something that they do. There's pornography, which Jamie talks about a lot, and how that totally destroys the adult brain. They do not just child pornography, but they do what they call snuff films. So it involves the live rape, mutilation, and killing in barbaric ways of children. Sometimes children killing other children, sometimes adults. And this is consumed. People want this content, right? And so it's all, and then, we're talking about Kinsey. Let's talk about Freud and his Oedipal theory. Children fantasize about having sex with their parents or other adults.
Right.
It's a total twist. But even Darwin, with his theory of evolution to make us not realize we're actually divine beings. Oh, no, we're just apes, So it's all part of the satanic system. They indoctrinate us. So anyone who's a big figure, I hate to tell you, in science, medicine, history, they're Satanists. Okay, they're there to teach you something completely inverted and
Max,
wrong.
even if they don't believe it, they've been indoctrinated. They've been brainwashed, and they carry that torch on. Good old Sigmund Freud over at the Jesuit University of Vienna taught these things. Home run.
Wasn't he covering up for abuse victims were having dissociative identity, and he was saying it was? I think that his method was covering up the signs of this endless abuse that has been going on. That Max,
it's my intuition
psychoanalysis is go inward and explore all these impulses and things. No, it's the outer reality, people, that's occurring. Right. Children are being raped. Okay, but no, don't focus on that. Focus on your inner. It's a crime.
Let me tell you what I've come across in my research, that years ago, I remember the big arguments. Y'all, maybe Max, a little bit younger than me, and Sean, way younger than me, may remember this silliness years ago of homosexuality, nature versus nurture. Oh, no. 10% are born. I personally believe, based on my research, that this was part of that same cover-up effort, because I have found that a great many people cope with rape and trauma and abuse as children by going towards their own gender. What's her name? The Elliot. What's that Elizabeth that went sex change in Hollywood. Right, the girl that became a boy and was a child actor. I
one
see
from
this.
Inception.
Yes. I fully believe that that's evidence of him being abused.
Right.
Of Jodie Foster. So many of these people, they cope with being traumatized. This is why I'm so very sensitive to this issue. We've got people.
Even exotic dancers, they will be with their own kind, because men are just a source
because they've been traumatized. They've been traumatized by normal relations. It's been warped for them.
Business is trauma.
And so what they do, so what the machine does is they take these victims and they say, you know what? Let it all hang out. Do all they want to be is suffer quietly in a dark room. And they say, no. Push it. Gay pride parade. What are they? The trans reading children's stories and so forth. Put it all out to offend people. And it makes them, instead, now it turns them into bad guys rather than victims. And it's divide and conquer. It's all part of the divide and conquer. There are people out there. There's a Baptist preacher by the name of Steven Anderson who's a nobody. He's got like 20 whack jobs in his church, and yet he's going on all these news shows. He goes on Alex Jones, and he's slamming on the pulpit, no homos will be allowed in this church. I personally believe that he himself is a homosexual Jesuit playing a role. His job is to divide and conquer.
It's always
okay. It's all part of divide and conquer. Meanwhile, people should be looking at these at many homosexuals and say, wow, you have been victimized. What happened to you? Okay. But instead, divide and conquer.
And the rainbow, Jamie talks about this too. It's a symbol. It's about dissociation and forgetting. And then all these Black Lives Matter signs. Okay, these people don't care about any variety of human. They're talking about their Black nobility lives matter. Okay, all a play on words.
That's a T-shirt. I have to give you. I'm going to give you proceeds. I'm going to turn that into a T-shirt, and a percentage of that is going to go to Max.
That's great.
Wow, that's awesome. Black nobility. Nobody else do that. I'm going to do that T-shirt. That is awesome. Oh, that's great. Yeah, divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. It's what it is. Oh my goodness. If these sections could wake up from that and stop being used, as soon as Malcolm X realized, there's black people that are just feeding off of me, and there's white people who are decent. They killed them. They killed him as soon as he
was against war. All of a sudden, like you can't.
Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So Sean asked me, hey, you wouldn't do that again. Listen to me. It breaks my heart on the rare occasion that somebody asked me, a parent or a child asked me, hey, should I be part of the military? How much time do you have? Let me tell you a story, okay?
Absolutely.
What you're doing is you're giving your life to the most evil people in the world. I'm not against war. I'm not a pacifist. I'm only against wars created and run by satanic people for the purpose of making money, trafficking children, and trafficking drugs. Unfortunately, that's all war. So technically,
and for killing for soaking the blood.
Oh,
into the ground,
for mass murdering the Use Leaders, murdering the Use Leaders, and for trafficking in women and children and drugs. So I'm just against any war that does that. Unfortunately, that's all war. So technically, I'm against all war.
Right.
Yeah, and Roosevelt and Churchill, when they did those civilian bombing raids, that was part of the Tavistock Institute as an experiment. Let's see what happens if we do this. How much more compliance? It's trauma-based mind control, all of it.
Amen. Lusitania, Pearl Harbor, Freemason, mass sacrifice to pull people into war. And then they give you a hero that is destined to lose, like Lindbergh, who I think was almost certainly involved in the horrible murder of his toddler. And he's the isolationist hero that there's no way. Okay, dude, come on. We got to get those jabs. We got to get those, the Germans. What was the slang for Germans? We got to go after them. No, there's too much anger. There's no way that you're going to not pull us into this war. So that's the formula they do every time.
Right. And then for us to comply with the death of innocent people, like look at what they're doing in Gaza
Dresden,
right now.
All the firebombing.
Dresden was like they were practicing, and now they're doing Gaza. In today's day, it's still happening. It's just forever churning of this machine of kill children, burn them alive for your. The fire god.
Think about childhood vaccinations. You're sacrificing children right there.
Oh my God! Circumcision too, right?
Oh yeah. Mandatory. God forbid.
Just giving your baby away.
God forbid.
Go ahead, let it.
And then you get your baby back, and they lost their mental faculties, and they're handicapped for life. Right. For life.
That's a nice trauma right at birth. Let's cut off a part of your penis, and they do it to women in many countries. It's called, quote, female circumcision. They literally cut off the clitoris and sew the vagina shut. And then
it's broken open again by her husband. So that's another trauma.
Right.
And she can't pee. Oh my God.
Talk about, marriages in certain countries where guys are marrying 8 and 9-year-olds. That's pedophilia, people.
Of course.
Don't call it marriage. Okay,
Absolutely
come on.
sanctioned, and it's sanctioned by their elders. Like it's the same generational trauma passed down from the, like the people that were family, like uh you, Max, I think it was like your family, like your uncle or something connected to this orders, so these people, they sell their own family into it. And um I mean, it just seems like so, and then they get the promotion, and then, or there's breeders where they breed them special for this to be, just to
Yes,
be.
there are young women that it's horrific. They keep them underground. They have a very short lifespan. They're used to breed babies that are used to be raped or sacrificed or both. But what you just said, Sean, think about a parallel here. Mothers who take their toddlers to do beauty pageants. Is
Oh,
it that
wow.
much different than what you just said?
Yeah. Dude,
No.
yeah, very much the same.
How it is that the Ramsey parents were not investigated by the police is proof, is absolute proof. You know that the Jesuit trained Gorsuch, the Supreme Court justice, the Jesuit trained Supreme Court Gorsuch, came from the same Episcopalian diocese as the Ramseys.
Yeah.
And that's
No.
not his first daughter who died.
Right. Oh my
Like,
goodness.
whoa.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. The McCanns, the same thing. The Roman Catholic
dude.
McCanns, the exact same thing.
Right.
Right. That
And then,
beautiful little
like,
toddler, and they loved it. Just as Kathy says, they love H.W. Bush, Skull and Bones Bush 41, loves the toddlers, right? And he had his
Poppy Bush.
his daughter, right? His daughter that supposedly died of leukemia, right? Sure.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you something about these elite people. So they also shared their daughters out. So, like Bush and Cheney shared their daughters to each other to rape. Ivanka has been passed around like you wouldn't
Really?
believe. I mean, they do this to their own,
Yeah. Well,
Every time.
was it Rose Kennedy, the one who got the lobotomy? Like, what happened to her? Like the JFK's sister? Like, I mean, I'm just saying, like, uh, I don't know if it was Kathy's book. Maybe it was Bryce Taylor, Sue Ford, her book. Like, she was used in the Kennedy family. Like,
Kamala
they,
Harris
come on.
and passed around like crazy herself.
Jesus.
It's all, and then, I just want to make a point that some of the women in this cult can be almost worse and more evil than the men. Hillary Clinton is one of the most evil individuals on this planet. Everyone's probably heard of the video where her and her lover, Huma Abedin, skinned the face off a girl that they were molesting and brutalizing. And they do these kinds of things, the kinds of things that they do, you don't even see in the worst horror movie. So, Sean, I probably have like 10 or 15 minutes
Okay.
left.
Thank you
And
for giving us the warning.
I would like to make a suggestion that we talk in the last bit about what we can do about solutions, because I don't like to leave people holding
good.
all of it without kind of putting some hope out there and some ways forward. Does that sound
Very
good to you?
Yes, that does. I'm currently sharing the front page of Unbroken.Global. Do you want us to look at that? Would that help?
Sure.
Do you have some things here that I mean, this is your website, by the way, Unbroken.Global.
Yes.
And do we have, I mean, you have classes
I
and
do. If
you
you
have
go
resources.
if you go to the events tab, I have I'm currently I've just finished my second round. It's towards the second to last tab. I think it's called
Okay,
events.
classes.
I've done
Okay.
I've put together a 5-week course on trauma, because to be born on this planet in this reality is to be traumatized. It's a continuum of trauma. Maybe I'm over here at this extreme, but you can't be in this reality without being traumatized individually and collectively. Collective traumas include things like war, poverty, weather warfare, the stress of the modern workday. All of this is deliberate. So it behooves us to understand how we're traumatized, what it does to our psyche, to our body, so that we can know what to do to undo that. And then yesterday, I just taught my first 2-hour mind control seminar. and it was great. People loved it, and I just covered every aspect of mind control, to the architecture, the clothing, the food, the media, the education system, the history of it, SRA. It's important to understand what they're doing to us, because the prison is in our minds. They don't need to lock us all up or
Yes.
attack us with some big war, because they have us in that way. But we can become immune to things when we know the truth, understand, have the information, and, in my opinion, when we go in and address our traumas, our wounds, our shadow self, because like people are triggered all the time now. And so everyone is reacting. When you're triggered, your thinking brain shuts down and you're just in react mode because you're in fight or flight. So you have to learn how to deal with the stuff that's inside you, because if you deal with your traumas, you can't be manipulated as easily, right? So
Right.
I try and help people with that. I also am a therapist, so I work with actually a lot of SRA survivors. And then I do interviews with all kinds of amazing people who are exposing the cult has all its arms and facets, right? So I interview other survivors, but I also interview all kinds of people that will put information out there, including people that, are trying to help and have different things you can do to restore yourself and heal yourself. So that's me. But one thing I want to say is this: the main way we're going to change is for us to pull out of the satanic matrix, to pull our mind out of it, and to say no, to stop consenting. They can only do everything they're doing with our participation, our compliance, our consent. So you have to first know how you're stuck in that thing and take yourself out. But then we have to have courage and morality. And if you're the person who's told you got to go fly that plane and spray us with chemtrails, don't do it. If you're a teacher and you're told that you have to teach kids about this pedophile agenda and that there's like 32 genders, don't do it. Okay. If you're a doctor and you're given all this extra bonus money to vaccinate children, don't do it. Like, it's us. We have to put on our big boy and big girl pants and stop furthering this agenda, because it's not going to make you safe to follow orders and follow what are satanic orders. So this is the way out of the situation. And so I do see out there that their system, which is everything, it's crumbling. So we also need to go out there and put something new in its place. Create homeschooling, co-op schooling, unschooling options, grow your own food, connect with farmers. There's a lot of things that we can do. We're very creative. We're very inventive. That's why they created the patent thing, to steal people's inventions and suppress them, right? But when this system it's teetering, and when it collapses and they can't do, they lose a little bit of that control, we can step in and put something better in its place. But mainly, we have to heal ourselves and rise in consciousness, because everything is frequency. There's a reason, if you look up Abraham Maslow, he talks about a hierarchy of needs. They want to keep, if you don't have your basics like food, shelter, water, safety, you can't rise to your full human potential. If you look at frequency, David Hawkins' chart, you see that survival frequencies are a bandwidth, and then you can go up to the higher frequencies. These people feed off of us, manipulate us, and exist in a low frequency bandwidth of survival, hate, fear, despair. If we collectively rise above that level, they don't even exist in that reality anymore. Okay. And they're parasites. So without the host, which is us, they're done. They're hosed, right? So I just want to offer, and I'm sure Johnny has things to suggest too, but these are some of the things that I think are important to think about, because we can do this. We can get out of this. We're the reason that we're still in it.
It's so well said. Yes, our individual power to say no. We're taught you're hopeless. even the ritual of circumcision, like you tied down to a board and they just taking it. You can't do anything. It's helpless. They make us helpless in this world. We got to have a job. We got to drive this car that's falling apart, and it's like, it makes us stand down. The whole Q thing is hero will save you or whatever, like, and all the songs, like, to put us into the state of compliance and saying, yeah, okay, evil, go ahead. And they've been doing that this whole time, and evil has been running wild because we don't say no. And we saw the Nuremberg trials they were all like, well, it's just, Eichmann, and we're just following orders. I took this load of boxes and brought it down this train track and stamp, whatever, doing my job, right? But the evil can't work without our compliance.
Right.
And all of this, like the Hollywood and all of this mind control, all the money, religion and government, all of it is to win your compliance with evil, right? And if we can find a way to do it ourselves with people who care and find an alternative method, like you're saying, like find an agorist society, build one yourself, start growing. True wealth comes from the ground. It's not paper, so like that's what gold represents from the earth, anyway.
Oh, Sean, some parents are taking that little boy to get part of his penis cut off.
I
right?
know their
Some
mind is
parents
blanked out and dead. Yes, yeah.
Some parent is taking a child to a drag show or to get vaccinated or to a school that they know is indoctrinating them. Like,
Right.
stop.
Charlize Theron has all her kids are trans. Weird, it's. I thought it was
the prime minister. The prime minister of Canada,
right?
The new Mark Carney, the new prime minister of Canada. Nobody steps back. The fact that exactly what Max was saying. Dick Cheney's daughter is homosexual, and nobody stops to see that maybe that. Hey, wait a minute. That might be a red flag of some sort of trauma in her past. I go roll chopped out. Okay, so real quick, my exactly
Please,
what you guys
Johnny,
are saying. I'm going to back you guys up.
All right.
The what does it take? People are terrified. If you're listening to this, you're terrified. Oh my goodness, how do I protect my child? You protect your child by loving your child. You protect your child by loving your child. You protect your child by being part of a loving two-parent, preferably male and female. So what is the biggest source of abused children? It is evil families that donate the children. All you got to do is love your child. Love your child, be involved, and boom, they're tremendously protected. Do not, exactly what Max is saying, do not consent. As we started at the beginning of the show, we said this, I said this. Cancel culture is unbelievable. Levels of Stalinist smackdown I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. It is them afraid. It is their fear. They cannot handle the possibility of people waking up. What do you need to do? Edmund Burke, what is it? What does evil need to succeed? Just for good men to do nothing. All you have to do is simply say no. Simply take a stand. Don't be afraid. Don't boot your responsibility to somebody else. Stop and say, wait a minute, that's not right. And then shockingly, if you're able to collaborate with somebody else, then 2 people say no. Then 4 people say no. And we've won the war. We have won the war. Don't boot your responsibility. Don't say it's Donald Trump. Don't say vote him out. Don't say MAGA. It's on you. And all you have to do is take a step with the word no. Do not consent. You can't believe how white pill it is. As much as they own everything, control everything, have apparently unlimited power, you have the power starting with the word no.
Yep. So because we're the ones that, remember the pyramid, we're holding it up.
Okay? That's right. Yeah.
We can collapse the pyramid by simply walking out from underneath of it.
Exactly.
And that's why they got to give that satanic signal 24/7. Because, we could, if everybody just stopped voting and they still held an election and gave us a ruler, maybe we'd be like,
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. Trust this politician.
Right. And
You're not voting doesn't do any good anyway. They're all selected according to what the agenda is. That's a good one, Sean. If everyone didn't vote, that would mean we are not supporting that fake political system anymore.
Exactly.
That's a withdrawal of consent, a collective withdrawal of consent. And then that system's over.
Right. Can you
How hard do they
imagine?
push that? They put these silly actors and actresses. Oh, you've got to vote. You got to vote. What's underneath of that is you've got to stay on the plantation. You've
Right.
got to believe. You've got to stay on the plantation. That's what's really going on.
Right. You got to
Well, and
keep
you're saying
believing the
yes.
mind control, and we'll just vote harder. It'll be fixed in 4 years. Just kick it down
I
the
mean,
road.
the
Don't
collective
worry.
amnesia of that is so frustrating to me. It's like, are you
Right.
serious? Have you ever seen anything happen with anyone you ever voted in, but more war, more harvesting of your money
Well-
and more control? So say no to that system. Say no, don't participate in, don't vote at all. That doesn't give them the consent. See? And then another one. If everyone, it doesn't work unless like the majority does it. Don't pay taxes anymore. It's theft.
I was going to say that and I didn't say it. I was going to say this is much more dangerous, much more powerful. Don't pay. Aaron Russo is absolutely right. You are legally protected if you don't pay your taxes. It doesn't matter. They're going to disobey their own rules and they're going to hammer you. Just understand there's a risk involved. But if you have the courage to step away, look at homeschooling. What Max was saying, homeschooling. Okay, pull your children out of the satanic system. You'll still pay for it. You'll pay twice now. You'll pay to educate your own kids on your own, and now you'll pay for everybody else's kids to go in the system. Are you kidding me? So listen, there's two sides to that.
Hey, Johnny, though, if when you start with a new job, they give you this form that requires your signature.
Just
why would
push
it
back a little
require
bit.
your signature? But just listen.
Right.
But wait. But that signature means your consent. That's how their law works.
Yeah.
Right.
Except,
so basically, it says
in contract law, Sean, if there's deception, the contract is null and void, and there is deception in that.
That's all
there
taxes
is much
right there.
deception.
That's all taxes. How many people?
If you read the paper they give you, it says if you are exempt, exempt.
How many Americans would pay their taxes if they knew their government was trafficking women, children, drugs, mass murdering? That's a false contract. That's a false contract.
I'll tell you who's owned the IRS, the Rothschilds family. 20% of what they gathered went to governments. The other 80% has gone to black ops to do all this. Exactly what you're saying, John. Yep.
Of course.
You're helping traffic children when you do that.
The Vatican
Taxation,
bankers.
income tax is voluntary. It's not even constitutional or legal. And it is there in the fine print. Okay. So we just have to stop being scared of authority and obeying authority because, we're going to get in trouble. We're in trouble right now because of the obedience to authority.
Thank you. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what would you do as your solution? Okay, well, the people who are saying it's the Jews are the Jews, we're going to round them up. Johnny, you're saying it's the Vatican, it's Rome. What would you do? I would put M1s and T90s in St. Peter's Square. And I was on the Danny Polachek show, and the caller's like, dude, that's war. And I said, dude, you're already in a war. They're warring against you. You just don't realize it. You were in a war. Just like
I'm sorry, but they're culling us. I mean, we talked about the jabs before. Like, it is a war now. They're spraying us with toxins. They're killing our children.
When you realize there is no positive purpose for vaccines, and the government says you will vaccinate your child, you will vaccinate your pet, you will educate your child, and before your child goes to school, they will be loaded with vaccines. This is a war to poison everything you love. You're in a war. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Don't take your child to be poisoned. Don't buy the poisoned food. Okay?
Right. That's another good one.
Refuse everything. Public schools function they get money for every child that's enrolled. Pull your children out. Okay.
How much effort do you have to do to say no? If you make the terrible mistake of birthing a child in a hospital, they immediately whisk the child away. They're taking blood, they're taking samples, and they're loading your child with vaccines. Right. You have to be awake and active. Have your child at home with a midwife. Midwife, thank you for being my brain, Max. Have your child at home with a midwife, with the comforts and no vaccines. You have to be awake, but all you got to do is start on that path. Just say no. Be aware. You cannot boot your responsibility. It's on you. Question everything. Doctors, journalists, politicians, they all hate you. I promise you, they are not on your side. They are not on your side. Their job is to deceive you, to poison you, and to kill you. You can't. Pastors, whether they know it or not, their job is to deceive you, to keep you asleep. You've got to do it all for yourself. Don't be overwhelmed. You can't be your own journalist. You can't be your own pastor. You can't be your own doctor. But if you're awake, that's the first step in that direction. You look to people like Max, you look to people like Sean, and get some help and say, wait a minute. Can I have a second opinion? No, I am a god. I am wearing a white lab coat and I have a stethoscope around my neck and I'm holding a clipboard. I am a god. I never have an ulterior motive and I never say anything that isn't within your best interest, right?
But I own my body. I can get a second opinion if I want.
No, Sean. My body, my choice when you want to rip a living being out of a woman's body, but no, my body, my choice when you want to put an experimental jab in.
Real quick, I know you need to go, Max. I'm watching Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon's talking about how he went into the LA zone, or the fire zone, and he was stopped on the border of the fires by the National Guard. And I'm screaming at the computer. I had to get through in there because I wanted to take some photographs, but the National Guard stopped me. Why did the National Guard stop you, Tim? They stopped you because they love you. They evicted all the families out there because they love you. They force you to put seatbelts on because they love you. The YouTube shuts down all these videos because they love you. No, it's slave training. It's slave training. Okay, they don't love you. This the appearance. They think you have this purpose. You have this show on the surface of, okay, we're doing this for your best interest. The seatbelt laws, the drug laws, the alcohol laws. They don't love you, okay? I promise you, it's not for your good.
But the farmer brings me grain when I'm hungry. Go ahead. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah.
The TSA, which came out of after 9/11 from the Patriot Act. You know, I've noticed. I've traveled recently, and you go up to the beginning of the TSA line, and they have a thing, and they say stand in front of the camera. And I always say, "Is it voluntary?" Because I know it is. And they say, "Oh yeah, no problem." And then sometimes they argue with me and say, well, and I go, you have my face and you've got my ID. Right. Why do you need to take a picture of me? That doesn't make any sense. And then boarding airplanes, stand here. And it's like, no, I opt out. Right. No, thank you. Right. But most people will just do it. Don't do that either. There's simple little things everywhere. You have a choice. You don't have to buy Coca-Cola, which you can friggin' dissolve things from. You don't have to get your photo taken when you board a plane. I mean, there's still some places where you have a choice that actually has no consequence. Start making those micro choices to not participate in any of this crap.
Max, part of my red pill, I know Sean wants to jump in. Part of my red pill is when I came back from Iraq and I had people buying me $20 sandwiches and $10 coffee saying, hey, thank you for standing up for our freedom. And then they turn around and walk through a naked body scanner with their wife and their child and a little boy and a little girl. And I'm like, after all that happened, after all that I've seen, you're less free now than you ever were before. By the way, Patriot Act created by Vietnamese Roman Catholic Viet Din at Georgetown. So all roads lead to Rome. This was absolutely wonderful. Listen, I'm open to do it again.
I just wanted to say, oh, beautiful. Wait, I would love that. And I just want to say that those little micro that Max was saying about how we need to just a little no's here and there, those will become a habit, and then it will become natural for you to say no. And then in those moments when you're caught off guard, and then all of a sudden they say, hey, you got to sign this thing right now. Aren't you emotionally worked up and don't you need saving from us? Your default will be no. And then you stop and look and learn. That's what saved me from the shots, and that's what saved you, both of you. I'm sure. No. Just and the more you say it, the more normal it is, and the more you realize this is you. Now you're making decisions.
You think it's illegal?
Mind.
You think you can't. You think you don't have the right to say that. You actually do. You actually do. You'd be shocked at how much power simply not consenting gives you. That's why the new thing, oh, we use cookies. Do you consent? Please consent. They desperately need you to consent. All you got to do is start with no.
Yep.
Well, God bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Max, for staying and giving us your time. And I know we stretched
Max,
a
appreciate your
little bit extra time.
Yeah.
And please, listeners need to visit Unbroken.Global, and they need to see Max's Unbroken podcast is on Rumble, where they can find all your episodes and listen to all of the interviews that you've done with wonderful voices that will teach us all the depths of what we need to know with this black pill reality. And I thank you for your courage, and I'm so glad to what you're doing, and I look forward to your future works. I'm just delighted to have you here as a voice on my show, and thank you again. Johnny,
thank you, Sean, for having me. I just want to say, and for the work that you do, and thank you, Johnny, for all the books you've written, all the articles you write. We need real journalism in this world, so I really am honored also to be here with both of you.
Love you, Max. Appreciate you.
This is
Appreciate
great.
you. Sean,
so
send
much.
it to me. I want to mirror it. Send it to me, please.
Oh yes, I will send both of you copies so that both of you can put this on your respective podcasts. And it's really a meeting of the minds. I'm so delighted that we could have had this today. And I want everybody to also check out johnnycirucci.com and Johnny's podcast, Resistance Rising. You can find that on the Odyssey channel, is where he puts most of his work there. And all
Rumble,
of this.
BitChute.
Rumble and BitChute as well. Yes, those are the free zones where
right.
I still have a little bit of couple videos on YouTube, and I just keep getting them deleted. Like, I had another one just a couple weeks ago. They're just like from like 2 years ago, and they're like, nope. I was like, really? Wow. So it's happening. I'm being totally like fully dissolved from YouTube, just like the two of you. So I'll be in your camp. But BitChute and Rumble and Odyssey are
keep pushing, bro. Keep pushing.
A free zone. So I want all of the listeners to please listen to all of your work, and both of your voices are so helpful to this understanding of truth, and to understand that you have the power to say no. Right? That's like the biggest, hugest key, just given right into the hands of everybody for free. Like, this is how we get free, is say no. And even the hard slavery of the African South 400 years ago, they could say no too. They just happen to be whipped and beaten and tortured, but they still can say no. We own our bodies. They might kill those people, but then you're totally free. Then your soul is not in their grasp. And so just stand by your principles. Stand by what's right, and it inside. You can hear it. So God bless you, listeners, for listening. And thank you both again for being here. We will see you next time on Wake the Dead.
Sounds good.
You both.
Cheers.